Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His blessing and mercy so that I can stand here and present my research proposal today. I also would like to express my gratitude to lecturers and examiners for giving me the opportunity to present my proposal. My name is Siti Khumairoh from the English Education Study Program, Faculty of Tarbiyah and Teaching Science, Raden Fatah State Islamic University, Palembang. Today, I would like to present my research proposal entitled The Correlation Between Students' Metacognitive Awarenesses, Reading Engagement, and Reading Achievement of 10th grade students at Senior High School in Palembang. The studies discuss the relationship among students' awarenesses in managing reading strategies, student engagement during reading activities, and their achievement in reading comprehension. Reading is considered one of the most important skills in learning English, especially in the EVL or English as a Virgin Language context. Through reading activities, students can obtain information, improve vocabulary mastery, increase knowledge, and develop critical thinking skills. In senior high school, reading also becomes an important academic skill because students often learn to write in texts such as textbook, articles, and examination materials. However, in reality, many students still experience difficulties in understanding English text. Based on informal observation and discussion with teachers, some students can read the sentences, but they still fail to identify the main idea, infer meaning, or understand the overall message of the text. In addition, students often show low participation and lack of concentration during reading activities. Some students also depend on too much dictionaries when they find unfamiliar vocabulary. This situation may interrupt the comprehension process and influence students' reading achievement. To overcome these problems, students need appropriate reading strategies and active involvement during reading activities. One important factor is metacognitive awarenesses. Metacognitive awarenesses refers to students' awarenesses and ability to plan, monitor, and evaluate their thinking process while reading. Another important factor is reading engagement. Reading engagement refers to student cognitive, behavioral, and emotional involvement during reading activities. Students who have higher metacognitive awarenesses and reading engagement are expected to understand text more effectively and achieve better reading achievement. Therefore, the researchers is interested in examining the correlation among metacognitive awarenesses, reading engagement, and reading achievement. Based on the background of the study, the researchers formulate two research questions. The first question is there are any significant correlation among students' metacognitive awareness, reading engagement, and reading achievement? This question focuses on whether the three variables are related to one another statistically. The second question is there are any significant contribution of metacognitive awareness and reading engagement toward reading achievement? This question aims to determine whether metacognitive awarenesses and reading engagement contribute to students' achievement and reading comprehension. Research objective. Based on the research question, the objective of this study are, first, to analyze whether there is a significant correlation among students' metacognitive awareness, reading engagement, and reading achievement. Second, to analyze whether metacognitive awareness and reading engagement significantly contribute towards students' reading achievement. Through this objective, The researchers hopes to provide clearly understanding about factors that may influence students' reading performance in the EVL context. Significance of the study. This study is expected to provide theoretical and practical significance. For students, this study may help them understand the importance of using effective reading strategies and becoming more active during reading activities. Students are expected to become more aware of how to manage the reading process in order to improve comprehension and achievement. For teachers, this study may provide useful information regarding factors that influence students' reading achievement. There, teachers may use the finding to develop more effective reading instruction and classroom activities. For the researchers, this study may increase knowledge and understanding about metacognitive awarenesses, reading engagement, and reading achievement in English language learning. For the future researchers, this study can become a reference for conducting further studies related to reading comprehension and EVL learning. Study, there are three main concepts discussed. The first concept is metacognitive awarenesses. Metacognitive awareness refers to the student awareness of their thinking process while reading. Students who have good metacognitive awareness are able to plan their reading activities, monitor understanding during reading, and evaluate their comprehension after reading. Metacognitive awareness consists of three components: planning, monitoring, and evaluating. The second concept is reading engagement. Reading engagement refers to student involvement during reading activities. It includes cognitive engagement, behavioral engagement, and emotional engagement. Cognitive engagement relates to students' effort and strategy used while reading. Behavioral engagement refers to student participation and attention during reading activities. Emotional engagement relates to student interest, motivation, and enjoyment while reading. The third concept is reading achievement. Reading achievement refers to students' ability to understand and interpret written text effectively. Reading achievement is usually measured through reading comprehension tests. Research method. This study used a quantitative method with a correlation research design. A correlational design is used because the researchers want to examine the relationship among variables without giving any treatments to the participants. The population of the study is the 10th grade student of SMA Bina Sriwijaya, Palembang. The sample of this study consists of 102 students selected through simple random sampling. The researchers chooses this method because it allows every student to have the same opportunity to become a participant in the study. Researchers' instrument. In collecting the data, the researchers use three instruments. One relates to student interest, motivation, and enjoyment while reading. The third concept is reading achievement. Reading achievement refers to students' ability to understand and interpret written text effectively. Reading achievement is usually measured through reading comprehension tests. Research method. This study used a quantitative method with a correlation research design. A correlational design is used because the researchers want to examine the relationship among variables without giving any treatments to the participants. The population of the study is the 10th grade student of SMA Bina Sriwijaya, Palembang. The sample of this study consists of 102 students selected through simple random sampling. The researchers chooses this method because it allows every student to have the same opportunity to become a participant in the study. Researchers' instrument. In collecting the data, the researchers use three instruments. The first instrument is the metacognitive awarenesses questionnaire adaptive from Marcy, developed by Mokhtari and Suri. This questionnaire is used to measure students' awarenesses in planning, monitoring, and evaluating reading activities. The second instrument is the reading engagement questionnaire. This questionnaire is used to measure students' cognitive, behavioral, and emotional involvement during reading activities. The third instrument is the reading achievement test. The test consists of multiple choice questions designed to measure students' reading comprehension ability, such as identifying main ideas, finding specific information, understanding vocabulary meaning, and determining references. Data analysis. The collected data will be analyzed using SPSS software. Several statistical analyses will be conducted in this study. First, descriptive statistics will be used to summarize the basic characteristics of the data, such as mean, minimum score, maximum score, and standard deviation. Second, a normality test will be conducted to determine whether the data are normally distributed. Third, person-product moment correlation will be used to determine the relationship between variables. Finally, multiple correlation analysis will be conducted to analyze the simultaneous relationship among metacognitive awarenesses, reading engagement, and reading achievement. Hypothesis. In this study, there are two hypotheses. The null hypothesis, or HO, states that there is no significant correlation among metacognitive awarenesses, reading engagement, and reading achievement. Meanwhile, the alternative hypothesis, or H1, states that there is a significant correlation among metacognitive awareness, reading engagement, and reading achievement. The hypothesis will be tested statistically using SPSS software based on the significance level of 0.05. So, in the conclusion, this study focused on the relationship among metacognitive awarenesses, reading engagement, and reading achievement of 10 grade students. The researchers expect that students with higher metacognitive awarenesses and higher reading engagement will achieve better reading achievement. Hopefully, the findings of the study can contribute to English language teaching and learning, especially in improving students' reading comprehension. That is all my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention and participation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.